You ever just feel like a phony? You roll into your YouTube studio and you go, have I really been productive recently? Am I productive? What is productivity? So I've been making videos on this channel for a while now. And I've been thinking about the fact that, well, I love the world of productivity and everything it's done for me, that at a certain point, we've hit this kind of diminishing returns thing where I just kind of think task management is a joke. Okay, so hear me out. Once you implement all these different principles and you've learned about all the tips and the tricks, you hit a certain point where you're just like, you know what, guys? Just be productive. I don't know what else it is to tell you besides just do the thing. Like every time you feel like not doing work, just do work. But then also do work when it's appropriate to do work. During the day or in the morning, or if you're a night owl, a lot at night. But don't sit on your phone or focus on the same task for too long. It's just like all this stuff is really like, it's not rocket science. I feel like part of me has been struggling with the fact that I've watched these productivity YouTubers for so many years, and I'm asked often in real life, you post daily? Like there was a situation where I've switched jobs and I had a discussion with somebody in my previous job about like, wait, you post daily on YouTube and have a podcast and all this stuff and you work pretty well? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, why are you still here? I mean, you're doing all this stuff. I'm like, well, I mean, I'm not making enough money to do this full time. They're like, but you're just doing so much. Like, are you that busy? And I'm like, kinda. It's just called not being on your phone. Like, here's an interesting thing. There was a survey done a couple years ago where essentially in 2014, a survey by Salary.com found that 89% of workers admitted to wasting time at work every day. And like, I admit to it as well, but people claim like 30 minutes. And I'm just like, I don't think you actually understand how much time you waste. There's another study here that apparently finds that the average person loses 26 days each year to wasted time. Now, I've had this discussion on my podcast many times before. People waste so much time in the aggregate. And the reason I find task management to be a joke is because if you just fix like these few things, your productivity just goes through the roof. All right, 1, increase the amount of time you work on something when other people aren't distracting you, whether that's your morning time or time during the day when other people are out of the house or not going to interrupt you. The reason for this is that your productivity increases with lack of distraction and with the creativity of just being alone and being able to get into a flow state by yourself. Number 2, implement the omelet station principle. What really bothers me sometimes is when I find myself at an omelet station and there's a crowd of like 3 people waiting for their omelets all while they're cooking. And there's a buffet and they could just get their food while the omelet's being cooked and they've already put in their order, but instead they sit there and they don't even watch it. They're not like entertained by the omelet being cooked. They're just on their phone. And the omelet station principle basically works under the assumption that anytime there is this micro buffer time where you're waiting for one process to be complete that you have no control over, similar to your laundry being in the washer. If that thing is just going and you can't control anything about it, do something else. It's like you get a 2-for-1 on the time. It's like you go 2-for-1 on the time and magically you just have more time than everyone else who doesn't seem to realize this is a thing. For example, how do you fit in working out every day? When I'm waiting for the water to heat up in the shower, I do 50 push-ups because it takes like 2 minutes for the water to warm up. I don't sit on my phone and waiting for the coffee to brew. I'll get my clothes ready for the day. Or what is like an insane process is if anyone has ever seen my video editing process, I will do batch recording and I will essentially have audio editing happening while there's encoding happening, while there's Premiere exporting happening at the same time, because I shouldn't just be waiting for the next thing to go. If you have an order of operations and you're not multitasking, or it's all in the same mental process, you're gonna get it done quicker if you allow for this like 30 second, 15 second, 1 minute, 2 minute, and upwards of 20 minute, 30 minute thing, like waiting for the laundry to happen. If you, in the aggregate, just keep on stacking time and allowing you to task batch in all these weird ways, you're gonna save a lot of time. And number 3, good Lord, just gamify whatever you're doing. If you turn it into a video game or turn it into a fun thing, you're gonna end up doing more of it, or at least you're gonna not procrastinate as much while you're doing it. I found recently, as I've been searching for a laptop to overtake the old one I've had so I can like use something decent on the go, that I've had a lot of trouble being productive. So then what I do is I go back to the basics of gamifying my productivity of well, even though I'm wasting all this time looking for a laptop, I still am like pseudo addicted to my checklist. So if I don't check everything off that I had planned earlier in the week off of my Notion daily planner, then I'm not going to be happy with myself, because like, I want to play the video game that is task management. Task management is not that hard. I feel like a lot of people waste more time than they admit. Sorry for this sort of off the cuff video, but I'm going to finish this one by letting you guys know that I managed to go away from my desktop computer for over a month, and I got 2 months ahead on videos before this one ended up being posted. Being productive is not that hard. Just don't waste your time. But if you want to learn more productivity principles about how to be productive, just click here. Just click.